Hey, how's it, Laker Nation Cowboy Boss here? How you doing? All right, so this is the part three of the LeBron James time with the Lakers. So you know how the saying goes, strike while the iron is hot. Yes, a lot of guys was 1 year signings and all that kind of stuff. But if you could get enough guys together, keep them together, the defense was a solid defense. So you can that can carry you through and maybe maybe be in contention. But I don't know about winning, but maybe be most likely be in contention. But in the back of my mind, I was just like, LeBron James he always got to tinker with the roster. Then you hear it in the media, who they're going to resign and all that. Well, they got to, when LeBron James and Rob Pelinka guys get together, you know, they're gonna talk about they're gonna keep, who they're gonna let go, and all that kind of stuff. And when it works, oh, LeBron James, oh, he's the GM and da da da, and then when it doesn't work, oh, it's not his fault, or or LeBron James himself, or I don't get involved and all that kind of dumb stuff. Anyway, they signed Marcus All, and I was like, okay, 5 years ago this would have been perfect sense. And then and I was like, then you heard about why offensively he can help out this way because he can hit that, he can be used as stretch four as well to stretch five as well. And I was like, why? You need somebody. You got Anthony Davis. He's kind of like your present and your future at the same time. And it's like, why? And then they said, oh, you need somebody to help him to anchor down the defense. And then you started hearing, oh no, LeBron is like kind of like having this thought of having the Lakers look like the Lakers version of the Warriors, and I'm like, what? The defense carried you last year. It was fine. You guys won, right? Why make? I was like, never mind. And then yeah, they had a decent season. I mean, but you could see the defense was struggling. And then like how Two Rafa TV said, they're the first NBA team that won the championship the year prior and get bounced in the first round of that year, the next year. And I was like, and it looked bad too. And then you started seeing you started hearing all the blame. Oh, it was a too quick of a turnaround. AD couldn't rest. That's why he was getting injured. LeBron James couldn't rest. That's why he didn't have the energy. Okay, older and all that. Okay. DeAndre Ayton, they lost to the Suns with DeAndre Ayton. That's how bad it was. The only positive thing to me from that season was Alex Caruso started getting more involved, and I really want to keep him. But then, and I said during that season too, when they resigned, I was like, bro, I would have let him walk. Why do this? Why extend them during the middle of the season? Why never just wait until the end of the season? Well, they just want to get out of the way and all that kind of stuff, Don't worry, I go, bro. So then, then you hear, the next season, and I started getting a little bit, I started getting a little frustrated. I was just like, you're not going to win. And, so might as well, like, if you're going to do something, get somebody that can help anchor. But I don't know if we're going to win. I don't think we're going to win. I'm not making any big name signing. I'm not making any big trades. I'm not wasting more assets and all that. You a hater. Then when you heard about Buddy Hield, and I was like, okay, that's a good player to pick up. On top of that, you got a guy that can, you already extended LeBron, so you got a guy that can hit the three. And all of a sudden, you started hearing about AD and LeBron going to Rob Pelinka and saying they want to suggesting they trade for Russell Westbrook, and I was like, that makes no sense. Two ball dominant guys, how Anthony Davis gonna get involved? Russell Westbrook is not gonna help spread the floor. He's not a consistent outside shooter. I go, this doesn't make no sense. And then and then I was like, I'm not. And on top of that too, I never because it was his contract and the prices that they were gonna ask for. I was like, I'm not using that. So we lose Kyle Kuzma, we lose KCP, who, Kyle Kuzma, yeah, you need to still find a spot for him on the roster, but you could find something he could do. you know. And then KCP is always a veteran you like on your squad. Then we lose another first round pick, on LeBron, you know. And then on top of that, yeah, the THC thing, yeah, wasn't bad signing, but I was like, well, what? But at the, I mean, I go, yeah, he's a young player, whatever. But I was like, what the? You guys should have prioritized Alex Caruso. And when we lost him, I was pissed. And then so we signed Melo, okay, older player, good offensively, bad defensively. This is looking bad. Trevor Ariza, which another older player, I was just like, what are we doing? I mean, I don't want to do this to Trevor Ariza. I loved it when the first time, but okay, you got Rondo, okay, whatever. And then we brought back oh Dwight Howard, and Dwight Howard was like, he should have never left. I was like, LeBron didn't make a case for him because I believe with all, if he would have come back, if LeBron wanted him back and they would have worked out some kind of mid-level deal, then it would have been fine. But yeah, so yeah, I was like, they're not winning, and then it was so bad that they missed the playoffs. I mean, with all his names and all that kind of stuff, they talk about the Dwight Howard first time and Steve Nash. They made the playoffs. The the Lamone and I mean Lamone, um, Malone and GP, they made the finals. This team didn't even make the freaking playoffs. The young core did a better job with LeBron James than this. And then like through the whole season, where I ended up defending, like I never questioned with Russ's competitiveness and effort and all that kind of stuff. But for him to be scapegoated and all that, and then people talking, going at his family, I was like, bruh, it's not. I go for you guys to scapegoat Westbrook. That's wrong, that bruh. I mean, I laughed at a couple of the videos, but you know what? This is not right. And then it's like, and then I go, you blame the leader, the guy that wanted all this stuff and all that. You cannot blame him. It's AD get injured. Oh, Melo is old. Oh, this guy that. Russell Westbrook, he's a bad player. He sucks and all that kind of stuff. I was like, what about LeBron? Like, he gonna get, if he's the face of the franchise, if he's the best ever, then he should make him at least better. Give Kobe Bryant this type of roster. Let's see what happens. Switch him off with Swaggy P and those guys, or Jordan Hill and those guys like Chris Kaman, you know, and everybody's blaming and all that, and I was like, I don't care what this sucks, and during that year too, what also was pissing me off was that you started hearing about or not if he's gonna break the title, the scoring all-time scoring record, but when. And I was like, well, this isn't about winning or what anymore. You guys try to blame all this stuff, but in the meanwhile, all this little stuff started coming up. Like, oh, that's why you scapegoating Russell Westbrook because LeBron James was stat padding because everybody was talking about his stats. Every time he's like, they lose. Oh, you look at LeBron's stats. He did okay. And then the whole scoring record, I was like, okay, he passes Jordan, he loses. He passes Kobe Bryant, he loses. He passes Malone, he loses. I was like, it's all stat padding. And that's what I was like, okay, now my hatred is full on. This is not about winning anymore. It's about his stupid stats now. It's about him breaking records. And and then they needed scapegoating Russell Westbrook, and they missed the playoffs and all this stuff. Well, what is this winning then? You get Anthony Davis and all that, and then LeBron needs help and all that fake shit. So yeah, I was done already. So yeah. Anyway, I said we're worked up. I gotta get some things done. Mahalo for watching. See you next video. Laker Nation. Aloha.